What if every second, the Earth grew by 1 centimeter? It sounds almost insignificant at first, doesn't it? 1 centimeter is barely the width of your thumbnail. You might think we'd hardly notice such a modest expansion. But here's the thing about exponential changes. They start small and end catastrophically. Let's start with what would happen in the first few minutes. As Earth begins its relentless growth, you probably wouldn't feel anything initially. The planet's radius would increase by about 60 centimeters every minute, adding roughly 2 feet to the distance between you and the center of the Earth. Your bathroom scale might register a tiny decrease in your weight. But it would be so small you'd blame it on calibration errors. But that's just the beginning. Within the first hour, Earth would have grown by 36 meters in radius. It's like adding a 12-story building worth of rock beneath your feet. The surface area would increase dramatically, causing the first visible effects. Imagine looking at a balloon as someone slowly inflates it. Material stretches, thins, and develops stress patterns. Earth's crust would start experiencing something similar, but infinitely more violent. The tectonic plates, those massive puzzle pieces that form our planet's shell, would suddenly find themselves with too much space to fill. It's like trying to wrap a small present with a piece of wrapping paper meant for a refrigerator. The result? Massive earthquakes would begin rippling across every continent simultaneously. Not the localized tremors we're used to, but planet-wide convulsions as the crust desperately tries to adjust to its rapidly expanding foundation. And then things get even more interesting. After just 6 hours, Earth's radius would have increased by over 200 meters. The growing space between tectonic plates would create enormous rifts and chasms. The mid-Atlantic ridge, that underwater mountain range where new ocean floor is born, would become a gaping wound in the planet's surface. Volcanic activity would explode across the globe as magma finds countless new escape routes through the fractured crust. But here's where the physics gets truly mind-bending. As Earth grows, its gravitational field changes. The planet's mass remains the same, but it's now distributed over a much larger volume. This means the surface gravity would decrease. After 12 hours of growth, you'd weigh noticeably less. Objects would fall more slowly. Your morning coffee would pour differently. Athletes would break every jumping record, not because they got stronger, but because Earth got weaker at holding them down. By the end of the first day, with Earth having grown by over 860 meters in radius, the consequences would cascade beyond geology into astronomy. Our planet's orbit around the Sun depends on a delicate balance between gravitational attraction and centrifugal force. As Earth's density decreases, this balance shifts. The planet would begin to spiral outward, slowly at first, but with increasing speed. The Moon, our faithful companion for billions of years, would face its own crisis. The gravitational dance between Earth and Moon, refined over eons, would become chaotic. Tidal forces would weaken, leading to smaller ocean tides. But more importantly, the Moon would begin drifting away from us faster than its natural recession rate of about 4 centimeters per year. Instead, it might move several meters away each day. After 1 week of continuous growth, Earth's radius would have increased by over 6 kilometers. Picture this. Every mountain would appear shorter relative to the planet's new size. But paradoxically, they'd also be under tremendous stress from the expanding crust beneath them. The Himalayas, the Andes, the Rockies, all would experience catastrophic structural failures. It would be like watching the world's greatest monuments crumble in slow motion. The atmosphere, that thin blanket of gases that protects and sustains us, would face its own existential challenge. As the planet expands, the atmosphere must spread over an increasingly large surface area. After a month, with Earth having grown by over 25 kilometers in radius, the atmospheric pressure at sea level would drop significantly. Breathing would become difficult at what we once considered normal altitudes. Weather patterns would shift dramatically as the reduced atmospheric density struggles to retain heat and moisture. But we're not done yet. After 1 year of growth, Earth would have expanded by over 300 kilometers in radius. To put this in perspective, this is roughly the distance from London to Paris, added as a shell around our entire planet. The surface gravity would have dropped to about 80% of its original value. Cars would need new braking systems. Birds would soar higher with less effort. But these would be among the least of our concerns. The most devastating effect would be on Earth's magnetic field. This invisible shield, generated by the movement of molten iron in our planet's core, protects us from deadly solar radiation. As Earth expands, the core becomes relatively smaller and cooler compared to the planet's new size. The magnetic field would weaken dramatically, leaving our atmosphere vulnerable to being stripped away by solar wind, just like what happened to Mars billions of years ago. Ocean levels would drop as water spreads over the vastly increased surface area. What were once shallow seas would become dry land, while new bodies of water would form in the expanding basins created by the fractured crust. Coastal cities would find themselves suddenly inland, while new coastlines would appear in the most unexpected places. And here's the truly staggering part. After just 10 years, Earth would have grown by over 3,000 kilometers in radius. Our planet would be nearly 50% larger than it started. The delicate balance that allows liquid water to exist on the surface would be completely disrupted. With reduced atmospheric pressure and a weakened magnetic field, Earth would begin its transformation from a blue oasis into a cold, airless rock drifting through space. The final chapter of this cosmic catastrophe would be written in the stars themselves. As Earth's orbit continues to decay and expand, seasons would become longer and more extreme. Eventually, our planet might break free from the sun's gravitational grip entirely, becoming a rogue world wandering through interstellar space, carrying with it the frozen remnants of what was once a thriving biosphere. So the next time you measure something with a ruler, remember that humble centimeter. Such a small unit of measurement, yet when applied relentlessly to our entire world, it becomes the architect of the ultimate apocalypse. Sometimes the most terrifying scenarios begin with the most innocent questions, don't you think?